attention. No. No. We really wanted this also to have an Oprah moment. It won't, but we wanted it. So if everyone can pay attention to these amazing entrepreneurs as they pitch their products. I'm going to stay away from back here. All right. Do I have everyone instead? Thank you. You guys are awesome. All right. I'm very excited to introduce you to Christian from Nanoleaf, who is going to be pitching his Smarter Home Kit.
Hello. Hi everyone, good evening. My name is Christian and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Nanoleaf. We're the team that brought you the world's most energy efficient light bulb. Red Dot Award 2 awards, and these light bulbs are actually made flat on a PCB. We have our proprietary heat dissipation method, and we actually fold it into a beautiful looking light bulb. As you can see, the dodecahedron shape is visible on all our products, and much like Misfit following their footsteps, we want to mend and integrate beautiful quality design with high efficiency and great software. So that's why we're going to introduce our newest product, which is the Nanoleaf Smarter Kit. It comes with two beautiful looking 800 lumens light bulb. That's your 60 watt equivalent, okay, and our beautiful looking Apple HomeKit enabled hub. So this hub talks to these light bulbs and actually goes up to 40 light bulbs wirelessly via Zigbee HA 1.2 protocol. And what makes us a little different is that we have the Apple authentication chip that allows us to tap into the HomeKit iOS framework. So what that means is that not only we can use our iOS app, but we can actually use Siri voice commands. So, turn lights on. Set lights brightness to 100%. Turn lights all off. So this is very special, and this is only the beginning, okay? What we're gonna do is actually look at this beautiful glass light bulb. You know, look at the aesthetics. It's making a beautiful product and make it also color changing too. That's our actually next product line. In terms of funding right now, you know, we're about halfway through our funding, and thank you Indiegogo for giving us such a great platform. Actually, all our toolings are pretty much done. We're in the first production lot, and we will hope to hit Christmas sales. And actually, this, the first product, the Nanoleaf Smarter Kit, will retail at $99 US, whereas the expansion single SKU will be retailing at $24.99. So, you know, it's about working with the largest players, the key players such as Apple HomeKit, and, you know, really expanding the network and you choosing the right key partners for both offline and online retail. And what we really want to do is, you know, offer really customizable color offerings to key partners and really roll out impactful LED products that can save the world. My name is Christian, and on behalf of the Nanoleaf team, this is our Nanoleaf Smarter Kit. Thank you very much.
Great job. We're going to do a little quick set change. And I realized that I didn't tell you exactly what to expect. I'm sorry. I was a bad hostess. So just so you guys know, what we're going to have all three companies pitch, and then we're going to do a little set change between. So the companies will pitch one after another. Then they'll each get 5 minutes of questions and feedback from the target team, and then we'll open it to questions to you guys. So get excited to ask questions. I know you have a lot of them. If I were you, I mean, I have questions. So just, that's what to expect. Is everyone getting enough to drink and eat and all of that jazz? Good, okay. Excellent. Thank you for your patience. I feel like I should tell it, I should tell a joke. I know, I don't even know. And like the last joke I told felt very flat. I'll tell it to you, but it's bad.
Let's hear it.
I know it's terrible. It's really, you're gonna be like, that is a terrible joke. No, it's Midwestern. I'm from Chicago. I know.
What do you do at Indiegogo?
Oh, what I do at Indiegogo? Well, it's that a joke. For anybody who, it's nice. I know actually probably like 40 or 50% of the people in this room, which is very nice. So I'm a senior director of outreach. I've been with Indiegogo for 3.5 years. We've been doing these hardware happy hours once every month. So for who's been to one of our hardware happy hours in the past? Right, wow, there's a lot of new faces too. That's amazing. Thank you guys. We had 270 people RSVP for this event, which we were very, very happy about. How many people are going to go to CES? Anybody? Nice. Oh, Skull, hi. Good. Congratulations on your Innovation Award. They just won the Innovation Award at CES, or CEA, and are live right now. And I just saw your team in New York. They did a great job. Yeah. All right, are you ready, Colin?
Yeah.
This crowd is ready for you. Oh wait, did you want to hear the joke though, or do you want me to save it for the next break? Okay, so it's really bad. So, why was Piglet so dirty? Again, I'm Midwestern, so it's an easy one. Anyone? Anyone? No? Because he was always hanging out with Pooh. I know. It was not.
Nice try,
Colin, this is what you made me do. Tell the joke. I'm really excited about this. So Colin and I sit by each other in Chicago. Colin's here from Chicago. We're very excited to have this multi-million-dollar campaign out of Chicago. It was the first multi-million-dollar campaign out of Chicago ever. Very proud. We did an interview together. Okay.
All right.
Here you go. 3 minutes.
Thank you. All right, hello everybody. My name is Colin Marshall, and I am from UMI. I'm actually from Phantom. That is our company name, but UMI is the brand. And what you see in front of you here is what we consider to be smart home in a box. So we are fans of home automation, and what we noticed is that there are 3 inherent problems in mass adoption of smart home and home automation today. Number 1, it's too complex for the average user. I look around here, and actually I can pay homage to a lot of these things that are in here. I've actually tried to use quite a bit of them. The reality is quite frankly, they are still a little bit too complex to use. So what we did was we approached this a little bit differently. We wanted to make it incredibly simple so that even my mom could set up a smart home. So we invented what we call Tap and Touch. And Tap and Touch is where we take our dedicated controller and we touch, and to add any of our system components to the smart home, all you do is tap the 2 components together. You tap them, it's instantly paired, the widget is downloaded, and you have immediate control over your smart home product. So really what we put this down to is that it is smart home setup that is as simple as a handshake. There's nothing on the market that is like it, and nothing is more simple. It's also incredibly fun to use. So you can also set up different automations the same way. You just tap 2 products or 3 products in a row, and you can set up a scene. You can also set up an intelligence IQ. So for example, if you have your door and window sensor attached to your front door and you want it to turn the lights on after a certain time of night when it comes dark, you simply tap this first, you tap your bulbs, and you immediately have an IQ. It's that simple. So it takes out a lot of the complexity that otherwise has existed in smart home today. The other problem with smart home products, though, is that when you talk about home automation and being inside the home, one of the key elements that's always been left out is home entertainment. So as part of our design, we actually made this to be the ultimate remote control. So this has tactile buttons that can control your home entertainment. We have inside of Cube an IR360 blaster. So let me talk about Cube for 1 second, because this beast right here is your ultimate companion. You open up the box, you plug this in, you tap with touch, and you're ready to go. Camera, night vision, 8 environmental sensors. So you can check in on loved ones while you're away. You can check in on your home. You have everything to know, literally in smart home in a box, of what's happening inside of your home. Together with all of the other UMI line of products, they all set up with Tap and Touch, but we have Z-Wave, Wi-Fi, BLE inside. So if that's not enough for you, you can add on 1,200 other system components. Thank you.
Pretty excited to get my UMI system. It's going to be a great day. Oh, what a tease. So it's actually, I'm really excited to be here. How this event, how this collaboration happened was one day I was walking by, and wandered in and was like, "What? This place looks awesome. What's happening here?" And started looking around and noticed that there weren't any Indiegogo products. And so I asked to speak to somebody, and I ended up talking with Adam. Adam, raise your hand. Adam's amazing. Great job. Yeah, great. You deserve props. True. So I ended up talking with Adam, and we had a very philosophical discussion about the connected home and the vision and the inspiration for this great that he actually designed all of this. And then it just spiraled and turned into something amazing where we got to get Indiegogo products here pitching. And so I'm very happy myself to be here and that you guys are here with us. Without further ado, Ben.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone. So I'm Ben Nader. I am CEO and founder of Butterfly. And this is Butterfly. And we've designed it to be the world's smartest camera. Now, I know that's a bold statement to make, but if you have a minute, I'd like to explain why we believe it is so. So, our core value at Butterfly is all about saving our customers time and money while we're giving them peace of mind. So how do we do this? The team at Butterfly is all about pushing the technology forward that adds value to your life. And today, I want to discuss 3 of the technologies we built into this device that's very unique and very forward-looking. The first one, called ABR, Activity-Based Recording, is a little bit similar to how our smartphone works. Most of the time, we put our smartphone in our pocket, and they're running in idle mode. When something happens, they wake up, like we receive a phone call or a text. The camera works the same way, except it wakes up when it detects an activity. Now, we didn't stop right there. We kept pushing the technology, and we added more technology in here that I'm excited to say we built a platform that has 0 false alarm. That's unlike any other camera, home security cameras that's out there in the market today. So how did we do that? We took an infrared technology, we integrated with our motion detect to bypass the whole false alarm system and build a unique platform that only records when something important happens to you, not hours and hours of empty footage of your living room or garage or wherever you have the camera set. 2 other things we did on this camera. We made it to work with or without a power cord, so it runs on batteries up to 2 weeks and can be plugged in at any time. And to make it work with or without internet connection. So if the wireless connection goes out, it still works and still records. Therefore, it's one of the most reliable security solutions for home. Okay. A few other things about our early traction. So we're excited. We went on the Indiegogo platform on September, and we raised over $600,000. And we're currently on their in-demand system, so we're excited about that, and we continue to collect orders. The product that you see here is about 90 days from shipping. It's straight off of our manufacturing floor. We chose to go to Taiwan for manufacturing. It's all about, the last 90 days is all about some certification we need to get and a few QA and things we need to do. But we're excited. Our strategy for 2016 is to be online retailers and brick and mortar. We specifically, our target audience is the average American home with a family and young kids maybe. But we specifically want to target the mom of the house. And where does the mom shop? They shop at Target. So thank you very much for having us. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys that took courage. Great job. I'd like to call Christian back up in order to get his feedback. There you are. Excellent. Here, you guys can have this.
All right. This was awesome, really fun. You guys, I would just say overall, all the founders did an amazing, amazing job kind of pitching this toward retail. You all made really good points about things that we as buyers are going to ask right away. Like, who is this product designed for? Who are you selling for? Why retail? Why Target? Missed 1 or 2 of the price points. That's always going to be a really important question at mass retail. But overall, like, killer job on those demos and kind of aiming them toward the audience. So thank you for that. So starting off with Nanoleaf, I'll just start with a little bit of my feedback, and then you guys can chime in with questions or otherwise. I'll just say the product itself is so visually cool. When you can get that in front of somebody, that's awesome. I think the first time we met, you actually brought a version of it into the store in your bag. You're like, check this out. That was super memorable because it's such a cool product. I think the fact that you hit that great price point and your packaging is super impactful is going to get you really, really far. You've clearly differentiated it well. You've thought about who's going to buy it and where it's going to sell. So really nice work on that. I'm super impressed. Anything from
So my name is Matt Leiser. I'm a buyer in the home pyramid at Target, but just want to introduce myself. I echo what Kate said. I thought all three of you did a really, really good job. I guess starting off with Christian, I think what I loved hearing you say was how this is something that helps the guest with the value, right? It saves energy, it provides something that makes sense for the guest. One thing that's important to know about Target is, as a buyer, we have various guests that come into our stores that have different needs and different wants. We call it good, better, best in terms of aligning up the product lines. And so what we're looking for is a curated version of what's a great opening price point and good option that's going to check the box for the guest who has this particular need, in this case lighting. Next then we're going to better categories, something that's a little bit more elevated but not going to be a super premium price point, oftentimes a name brand, for example. And then you're looking at the best. So really we're looking for those kind of surprise and delight, the Target wink, if you will, from a product standpoint. So where does your item fit in within that? How does that consumer, whichever one that is, whether it's the consumer coming in or the guest, as we say, do they understand it? Are you marketing it in the marketing message or the marketing field that they can understand it, so that when they show up, they already know what it is? Kate touched on packaging. I think that's really important. I think when you're talking to a buyer, it's really important to show your packaging, and we call it a 3-second rule. When you think about Target, for the most part, it's an unassisted sale. There's a ton of items down the aisle, endless aisles. You can get lost in there for hours. Hopefully you guys have. And you need to be able to convey everything that your product does, the key value, the key message, why they're willing to spend, in this case, $99 in a starter pack in 3 seconds. So walk us through that and tell us why, and be open to feedback. I think those are kind of my initial thoughts, but really good job, like I said.
And one final thing I add onto this, Josh. This I think would for sure fit into probably the best category of Target. I think it falls into definitely a premium category. Connected product tends to at this point in time. But you did an awesome job summarizing why it's worth being in that category. So if you were pitching to a buyer and they were thinking about putting this on their Target shelves, kind of like what's happening right now, they're going to think, what are the reasons why I would sell this and take the risk on spending a lot of money on inventory to put this into the stores? And you did a great job kind of explaining what those reasons were and why it's differentiated. And your demo worked, and that's awesome.
I'll just add, I think you did a great job messaging simplicity across the board. Again, this is a confusing category for a lot of people, but you did a nice job, one, with your base product. Your evolution into the starter kit, it's not a massive leap where you're starting to go overcomplicated, going to an insanely high price, but it's a nice logical step for the guest. The interaction with Siri is very simple. An average Target guest would be able to understand what this could do and how they could interact with the product at their home. So I really like the way you presented it.
Also, one other piece, I love the shape. It's a really, really cool change on something that is otherwise pretty standard. So awesome job with that. It's really cool.
Thank you so much, guys. Actually, the shape is what got us here in our seed round funding in 2014. So thank you so much, and I'll definitely catch you guys later on the floor.
Kick off this one. So another example of a really awesome demo. It was really cool to, I would say overall, see the product and see how all of it works together and kind of hear some of the reasons for that. And I would say the thing that catches my eye the most, as a Target buyer specifically for open house, but as a past Target buyer in stores, I think it's really the design and how beautiful it is. And you did a really good job of taking all that out of the box, demoing it. My biggest challenge would be what's the price point? And right. I don't think you touched on that.
I did not. I ran out of time.
Okay.
So, obviously we have a full complement of products. So, because we have individual accessories that are Z-Wave accessories in and of themselves, those can start as low as $39 a piece. If you start talking about the whole ecosystem system, like a good starter pack where you have multiple accessories, touch, the cube, which is a tub in itself, you're looking around $599.
Yep. And I think I'm sure you've obviously done your research in the field to see that that's pretty typical when you talk about putting things together. You'd probably just get the feedback from a Target buyer that you'll want to think about bundling. So how do you put all those things together to make a slightly lower price point and to make it achievable for a typical guest? Are you willing to come to the table with some promotional spend? So do you have a marketing budget set aside to kind of make it a good price point for the customer? But obviously super premium and awesome set of products that I work with in my house. So you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Again, great job with that presentation. Really, really cool product. You know, I think my initial feedback or my thoughts as a buyer is clear articulation of where this is fitting within the target store. I think, you know, initially when you think about this, there's a couple of different ways that you can you know, kind of position it in terms of, is it a home monitor, is it a security system, you know, what is it when it's kind of everything all in one.
That's right.
In a really strong point of view on, you know, I'm not the particular buyer for this category, but I don't know that we have anything exactly like this in stores right now, and so address that and talk about, you know, how this, you know, clearly if we don't have a 80-piece system in stores right now, why is this the one to break through, and how does it kind of answer that like initial kind of, I guess, icebreaker, if you will.
Okay.
But I think, I mean, really cool product. I think the simplicity is what I came away from it. Obviously, the tap and connect.
Tap and touch.
Tap and touch.
Tap and touch.
Tap and touch.
TM.
The handshake.
The handshake. Yeah.
Was really cool, and so I think that for me is probably one of the biggest barriers for why a category like this isn't there, because it's complicated. So making sure that's like your biggest selling point and showing that, and then again back to the packaging. How does your packaging articulate that? Because 80-piece set or multiple do-it-yourself is complicated, and the average soccer mom, which now no longer is the technical target guest, but you still kind of think of her that way, but digital savvy families. It's a new target. But yeah, I think how do you fit in there with that core guest?
Okay. Thank you.
You know, I used to work in entertainment, so I just thought it was super cool that you thought about incorporating that aspect of it. It makes it definitely a family experience, and obviously replaces a lot of you know, problems for people who are managing the multiple remote system. From a buying standpoint, I guess my thought process would be, you know, yeah, you have a lot of different options here. So what is the guest gateway into this category? How are they entering into this? It would, you know, go a long way to think about that in terms of the assortment planning. Like, how many of each part of your platform do I need in each store? You know, noticing that some guests might just start out with one little piece and then go up to a bundle or extra pieces. So having some more thoughts around that would do a long way for a buyer, understanding how they can plan their assortment accordingly as we bring this to a merchandisable space.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate the feedback, guys. Thank you.
Thanks. You mind if I have the camera on?
Not at all. Camera on. Yeah, do it. Yeah. So this product I'll say, because it's a single, very cool product. This one's it's an easy demo, right? Because who wouldn't love this? Like, you could show this to anybody on the street, and they'd be like, hell yeah, I want 5 of those. I personally had that reaction the first time I saw this.
Thank you.
So super cool. My feedback on this would be, can you think a little bit more about the customer target, who this might go toward? I look at this and I think this is super fun. Is there like a teen market that you could go after a little bit? Could this be a little more playful, a little bit more like a little younger and super cool?
Yes.
So that'd be my main thing, but I think you nailed kind of the key factors otherwise.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna buy one.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, again, great job. I think my biggest question as a buyer, what I'm thinking is, you know, going back to what I said before, this is a little bit more of a highly penetrated category in terms of there are multiple webcams and those type of you know, products that exist at Target today. So really, I would say this is one where I'd be thinking about addressing the competition that's out there and really articulating again within that webcam space of good, better, and best. Where are you fitting in? And quite frankly, why are you better than what's already in the store? Because most likely, you know, with SKU count goals and things like that, we can't bring everything in. And so for me, I want to know, I want the best, maybe 1 or 2 versions of better. So how does this fit into that? And
Yes.
That would be my biggest question.
Great question. Yeah. So actually, it's so when for the average target customer, when we go to the consumer, it's all about the simplicity. It's all about the ease of use. The fact that all the other ones that are in the market, and I know Target carries some of them. For example, they have to be plugged into the wall. This one doesn't. It's like people get it right away. But when I went on Indiegogo and we targeted the early adopter, it was all about the technology that was inside of it. It's the same device. It's in one category, but the messaging is slightly changed. And when we go to Target, I want to target the moms. I want to go after the families. I don't want to go after the early adopters anymore. And it's all about the ease of use. Okay, that one has wire. It could be as simple as the other ones are black and this one is white. And most female think black is intrusive and a big brother reminds you of a security camera at the airport. White is soft, and that's why they all have white iPhones.
Could look at rose gold next. That's the new popular. Hard to keep that one in stock.
It's coming. Limited
Yeah.
edition.
I just think you did an awesome job researching and articulating the target guest. I think that goes a long way. You know, I talked about earlier anticipating guest needs. You did a phenomenal job, you know, understanding who we're looking at and meeting their needs of simplicity, of style, right? That's a huge thing. It's a pillar of what Target stands for in every category. And, you know, all of these products touch on it in one way or another. So I think you did a great job there. I just think your camera, it looks like it's adding a few pounds on me right now, so I don't know if you need to tweak that or what. I saw myself and I'm like, man, I'm just sitting next to these guys, so maybe that's what it is. But no, I'm just, no. The other thing to Kate's point, you know, marketing to different folks, you know, maybe we do a lot of fashion partnerships. You know, it's a blank white canvas that looks very non-intrusive, but for that teen or other demographic, you know, it's a great way that you could accessorize that and make it really fun and people can get involved.
I would love it. Just like iPhone has so many cases, this should have so many cases.
Absolutely. Great. Rose gold.
Thank you very much. Thank you guys.
Okay, now we'd like to open it up for a few minutes for a few questions. Can I have our esteemed demoers back up here? Thank you. Good to see you. Great job. Are there questions from the audience for either our esteemed target buyers or for our demoers? Don't be shy. Yes.
Yeah, I don't own any Apple products, so how would I control your intelligent light bulb if I wasn't controlling it through technology?
Extremely good question. We had already a lot of people ask us through our online website. You know, given that we just met Apple this morning, they're a great key partner for us. But we want to collaborate with many key players, being in partnerships, and we will actually roll out with Google Weave as soon as that they you know, actually define their specifications. So Android is definitely on our radar, especially when we're opening the market in Asia. It's a big must, and many people have asked us the same question. So yes, there will be iOS and Android. Yeah. Actually, I would like to ask you guys a question. Is that okay? Is that allowed?
There's no rules.
I think actually I think Josh answered someone's question. It's we always fight about this at our companies. To go through distributors or not to go through distributors, to be or not to be, to do or not to do. Because I have to say, Josh, we also have the same scare. We're a startup, you know, we're less than 30 people, and we are afraid of inventory costs, especially if there's high SKUs, and we're not sure about, there's a lot of policies, shelf payments, things like that. So I don't know what to do, whether to distributor or go through distributor or not.
That's a really, really good and super relevant question. I would say there isn't a great answer, but the best answer that I can give, it's very candid, just honest advice to people who ask us this, especially in San Francisco at Target Open House. Retail is a beast, no matter what retailer you're working with. It's not particular to Target, it's not particular to Amazon, it's not particular to specialty. There's a lot of specific things that you have to do, and as founders of products, you should be out there pitching people, getting more money, selling your product, working with Indiegogo, doing all the right things to get it in the market, and you shouldn't be worrying about going into an online system and setting up the order point and the cost and the case pack, and hopefully those are all familiar words, and just dealing with things that you've got more important things to be doing. A distributor will do that for you. So if you've got someone on your team internally who's worked in retail before and can do all of that work and all the behind the scenes stuff, then awesome, you've hired the right person. If you don't, you can find that person on the outside in the form of a distributor, a vendor rep, a sales partner. There's a lot of different people who will help. Of course, there's cost to that, and I think some people find it's worth spending those costs. Others decide to hire someone internally who can deal with all that stuff for them. If you find the right operations person, you might not need to, but I would say that's probably the reason.
Yeah, I think there's kind of two different points to this I would consider. I think on the first send, it's getting in, right? And I think for me personally as a buyer, there are a number of reps that are based in Minneapolis that I have developed a close relationship with through prior successful product launches and from those type of interactions. And so just how many emails we get per week when you get an email from a familiar face, you're more apt to prioritize that than from a cold call per se. Also from a, once you were to get into Target, as Kate said, we're a complicated place, and a lot of the systems that we have are home built. And so we really, really do have our own language. If you talk to a buyer for long enough, you'll talk to multiple buyers, you'll realize that we all kind of talk the same language and have their own little terms for everything. The other kind of confusing part about this space as well is, as of right now, Target is still bubbling up all these connected devices under the home buyers. And so even if, like for tonight, for example, if we were to talk, there's probably very few of you that I would be that right buyer for. I'm in the space, but even when you look at this store, from a headquarters standpoint, we probably, just to estimate, we probably have 13 teams, and I would say probably upwards of 20 buyers. And sometimes we're trying to define where this space lies as well, and so we, just in Connected Home, there's 380, sorry, I'm repeating what you're saying, but there's 380 buyers, roughly 400 buyers at Target, and obviously as you guys are all looking, more and more of these new categories are coming out and they're sprouting up everywhere, and we're trying to figure out what that means. And so we may initially have a conversation, and if I'm not the right buyer for you, having a rep would provide more access points, because I don't know all 400 buyers at Target. So like, in a lot of times, wouldn't even be able to pass you off to someone else, even if I really believe in your product.
Any?
Just a quick question from the buyer's perspective. I mean, sort of when you take on these, let's say a new line or new technology, does it displace something else? How do you come up with this sort of, the process, the KPIs that sort of determines which one goes, which one stays afterwards?
I'll say the most fun thing about being in retail is that a lot of the times you go with your gut as the expert of the category that you're buying for. So anyone who's in a buying position at any retailer kind of ends up being this de facto expert of that market, because you're living and breathing the product. You're testing it all the time. You're going to all the trade shows. You're having all the conversations with the companies. So you end up just knowing it really well. So you get these feelings when you think something's going to be disruptive or big or cool. And if you bet right, it's a fucking payday. I mean, like Fitbit and Misfit, like there's all these excellent examples at Target where we have just won the lottery for brands and done really well ourselves on that too. And that's all gut, right? It's a good conversation at the right time where the right people talk to the right folks. And I think personally that's the best part about retail, is you have to just figure that out and make those bets. That being said, there's a lot of really smart people behind the scenes who are helping with all of that. So our team, for example, has a bunch of engineers who help us with testing product. So if we're checking out the newest IoT device, we have people who are evaluating it with hundreds of questions to answer to make sure that it works and that it's functional and that people are going to like it and it's facing the right customer. So we try to be really rigorous, and we're that way in all of our categories. Everything goes through kind of
your own user testing in a sense?
A lot of user testing, yeah. I mean, we could probably all name the number of connected products we have in our house. It's crazy. A lot of different lights, a lot of sensors. But yeah, I would say it's just kind of being the expert of your own space and trying to figure that out, making the right call for the future.
Okay, one more question. Over there.
Any idea from the point where you sort of say, yep, I like the product, I want to carry it, to then starting that sort of user testing, engineering testing, all of your due diligence, what's the sort of lead time there?
Yeah, so the question was around lead time and how long it takes from kind of start initial handshake to getting the product in shelf. I think the short answer is it's about a year. And so when I think about line review processes, for me, I hold them about 10 to 9 months before the formal line review is 10 to 9 months before my set date. Sorry, a line review is much like what we just saw here. It's a product pitch, going through all of the different, it's a bit, you're submitting everything into formal negotiation process, and the buyers are comparing your bid, your product, your price, all of your total offer and what you have to present against everything else. And ultimately, to kind of piggyback off your question, we have SKU count goals, we have limited shelf space. There's a lot of benefits and efficiencies from minimizing the amount of SKUs that we have in our assortment when you think about supply chain and investment and things like that. And so we are trying to be very, very curated in our assortments while still offering variety. To me, that is kind of the essence of being a Target buyer. But going back to finish your question, 10 months out, you're gonna have the formal line review, the pitch, the bid. About 8 months out, we'll actually present the product. So we have a planogram room planogram, I think as everyone know what that is. It's basically like I think the whole third floor of our corporate headquarters is a blank Target store. So white walls, shelves, all the fixtures and things like that. And so after line reviews, and we pick the items that we think we might want to consider, we'll literally set it. And so we set it a bunch of different ways. We're in there for about a month trying out different things, and then it's our turn to present. And so we'll go ahead and we'll present to the leadership, to our buyer, to our divisional, who's our buyer's buyer, and get their sign off that the assortment fits everything that we have to our guest promise. That puts us at about 6 months out, and that's when we formally kind of award you business. And so a lot of times that's go time in terms of item setups. That hopefully at this point, if there's genuine interest in it as a new vendor setup may be already kind of in process, but that can take a month to 2 months, which sounds crazy, but there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of steps that goes through that process, which, going back to the other question about vendor rep, that's something that would really, really help, because if we award you business and you're not able to set up in our systems and get POs in line and ship on time, we're probably not going to bring you into the assortment at the end of the day. So it's a big risk to kind of be navigating uncharted waters in that respect.
And I'll say that also, what Matt just described is super typical for brick and mortar retail. That's about the same with every retailer that has stores and have to send product through a supply chain. For any online business, so Target.com, Amazon, any of the kind of online platforms, it's usually a much shorter lead time because the steps are all just administrative. You're setting stuff up in a system. You might even be drop shipping it, meaning you're sending it directly to the customer. It's not going to a warehouse first. So that can be a lot faster. And I would be remiss if I didn't plug Open House, which is where we are right now. So we are a lot faster here because we're a single store. So if we work with a company, you want to have their product shown in this space, we basically have you direct ship it to us, meaning bring us the inventory with your hands and give it to us. And we help out a lot with the behind the scenes stuff because we don't want it to be hard for startups to sell their product to Target. And if we like something, we want to be able to kind of feature it really quickly. And we want to have a space that's a kind of a dress rehearsal for retail. So that's what we're trying to think of this space as. And you'll see more much earlier stage product coming into this store in the next few months.
Quick follow-up. The 6 months out, you say you award business, and then you get moving on the first purchase order.
Yep.
So given this category, like what's the sort of minimum number of units that the first purchase order might be in target? Is there like something there?
Yeah, I think that presents one of the biggest challenges, right? And I think the other piece in this world, and what I'm finding in my experience, is if you're pitching me your product 10 or 9 months out, very likely there's 2.0 that's coming out, and the last thing I want to do is set an obsolete product. So there's a lot of challenges that come through, and that we want to think through when we're thinking about bringing something to market. And so I would say when you're thinking about what channel you want to go to, product innovation and things like that would be something to really think through before you can really say I'm ready for big brick and mortar retail versus something like this or something where it's online only, where the lead times are shorter. I think I got a little bit off track in your question, but the unit. So we have 1,800 stores. From a presentation standpoint, if you're a new unproven vendor, you're likely going to have one facing per item of what you're selling in, and so our presentation minimum is about 30% of capacity. So you can do the math in terms of how many stores you're bidding on. If you're bidding on all 1,800 stores and you can fit 10 on a peg or 10 on a shelf, 3 times 2,000.
Yeah. That's basically. So I would say a typical, if you're a new company and you're coming to Target for the first time with a product, the buyer will likely test your product in, let's say, 100 stores. So if you're coming to us with, let's say, the first version of Sonos, and it was like 4 years ago, the buyer would probably say, we're going to try this out in 50 or 100 stores first. We're going to send 3 to each store to start with. Let's say it was 100 stores, so you're probably going to have to, be ready with 300 units. And the next follow-on order might be another 300 units if those first few hundred sell. So the buyer would probably say, be ready with 1,000 units for this 100-store test. If you're rolling out full chain, do the math. We might need you to be ready with 10,000 units. But it's kind of just store by store, and that's why the stores conversation ends up being a big discussion with the buyer. Like, how many stores am I going to go into? Are you testing this, or are you rolling out full chain? Our advice usually to startup companies is don't go after full chain, because that could just be a mess, right? Like, if it doesn't sell, what happens? And what if you can't ship on time? It's a much smaller deal if it's just a few stores and you're just trying it out. So that's kind of always our advice if it's your first product and first time retail. It's just start small and be excited about starting small instead of going after the big one.
What about for here, in terms of volume for here and time frame for here? You mentioned it was shorter, but
we're a single store, right? So if you can imagine like selling a product at a trade show, it's kind of like that. So our quantities are much more limited, which is easier for our companies to fulfill. We're talking hundreds of units, not tens of thousands.
And you guys will be around to answer more questions.
Yep.
So thank you guys so much for all of your insights. Thank you for demoing. Thank you to our panel for sharing your insights. And I want to give a shout out again to the amazing people who helped make this event happen. Brett Harris, Yvonne Lee, Amy, and also the Target team. Thank you guys so much for hosting us. Target team, thank you for hosting us. You're amazing.
Thank you for being here with us.
Yeah, and so eat, drink, be merry, mingle it up, and we'll be around, and we'll have another event in a month, so we'll send the invitation to you. Thank you, guys. And can I have the Indiegogo people come up to the front real quick? Indiegogo people over here, please. Thank you.
We're still filming.
Oh, we're gonna do a photo.
I don't.
oh, okay. She was here too.